Found footage is my favorite subgenre of horror, but the majority of these movies follow the same tired template. More on that in a bit. Recently, I watched 4 found footage movies that broke that template. I enjoyed these quite a bit, and maybe you will too. My name is James. Welcome to James on Horror. You can pick almost any found footage movie made within like the last 5 to 7 years and see the same craptastic template they follow, which is kind of like this. The first 10 minutes are spent forming the group of characters, whether it's them meeting up at some location or starting with a couple of characters, and then they go and pick up the rest of them. And the next 5 minutes are spent explaining why they're being recorded and or characters introducing themselves to each other and showing off their new camera technology. The next 45 minutes are spent on traveling, boring conversation, lame jokes, and piss-poor character development, if any at all, that does nothing to drive the plot forward. And then we get to the last 30 minutes where all the scary stuff finally starts to happen. This can typically be boiled down to a series of chase scenes and then everyone dying. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I recently watched 4 movies that ditched the found footage template for the most part, starting with 2012's Leaving DC.
Now, at the risk of sounding self-congratulatory, I've heard people talk about leaving Washington, D.C., escaping the city.
Woo! Woo! I did it! I did it!
I've looked on Google Maps and there is supposedly nothing within miles of my house. So who else is out here?
Man, there's some creepy stuff out there in the woods at night. Is that an animal or a person?
What is it?
I'm gonna get a flashlight.
Hurry. Listen. I'm gonna get here. I can't stay here.
Claire, you can't leave now. It's the middle of the night.
Here. Mark, turn that thing off.
After 20 years of living in Washington, D.C., Mark Klein seeks much-needed solace by moving to the remote wilds of West Virginia. I don't know why I'd go to West Virginia, but there you go. To ease his loneliness, he sends regular video updates to members of his OCD support group back in the city. But Mark gradually realizes that despite his new isolated setting, he may not be alone. From the endless woods surrounding his home, something else is watching. Now, this was written and directed by Josh Criss and stars himself as Mark and Karen Crichton as Claire. Essentially, it's a one-man show. Claire does visit for story and character development, but she's not there for the whole thing. Josh Criss's acting is great. He keeps the viewer engaged. The story beats are consistent with plenty of spooky stuff on screen throughout the film. And the ending is satisfying, but leaves more questions than answers, and that I kind of like.
Who's out there?
I called you last week, and I said I'd been hearing strange noises outside my window, like people. Like people were outside my house.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Oh, man. See? I'm gonna be just fine.
Leaving DC is currently available on Found TV, which is a new streaming service for fans of found footage movies and series. It's free with ads or $4.99 a month. And I want to thank Found TV for partnering with me to help make this video possible. Check them out over at foundtv.com.
This is crazy, but apparently this whole area, including our property, used to be a camp during World War II. And some pretty disturbing things supposedly happened here.
I've been here all my life. It's a dying town.
Hashtag Missing Couple, written by Jacques Edeline, directed by Edeline and Oliver Malden, stars real-life couple Austin and Jana Jenkins. A real-life hashtag van life couple was on an adventure to renovate an abandoned farm in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, and live off the grid. Cameras blazing, they chronicled their project on social media. Yes, I snickered at the irony as well. But the farm was full of disturbing surprises, especially at night. Jenna wants to start researching the history despite Austin's wishes to focus their content on the restoration of the farm. Now, one day they just stopped uploading footage. One of their super fans takes it upon himself to find the missing couple and save the day.
Austin and Jenna are friends of mine, and I think something serious has happened to them. So I've decided to go find them.
Now, what I find most interesting in this movie are the two stories that are being told simultaneously. While it's not a perfect execution, it still works for the subject matter. The acting is pretty well done, and I loved the mystery and intrigue of the story, and thankfully it's fairly unpredictable. Now, hashtag Missing Couple is available on several streaming sites, and you can use Google to find that out for yourself. In a Stranger's House was written and directed by Richard Waters. Every year, hundreds of people go missing after using online classified ads. No case is as bizarre and unexplainable as this. In November of 2017, a broken video camera and smartphone were recovered from a recycling center. The camera houses a memory card that contains disturbing and unexplainable material. Now, In a Stranger's House is another one-man show type of movie setup, kind of like a YouTube vlog. And I think what helps this type of setup work for found footage is that the character is constantly talking to the camera, or rather us, the audience. Now, once the spooky stuff starts happening, it continues throughout the movie while ramping up the intensity, and that kind of keeps you engaged with the entire film. What sells this movie is Richard Waters' acting. The way that he is able to act like just a normal guy is fascinating, because I think sometimes when you have found footage films, the actors are trying too hard to act normal, if that makes sense. But his acting is just absolutely spot on. And this one is one that I definitely recommend, and I believe this is available on Amazon Prime at the time that I'm filming this video.
Oh, hi! Let's see how stupid this looks. My name's Judith, and this is my camera. And that's you. I've been watching you since you moved in 2 months ago. Now I can film you too.
Camera. Meet Claire.
2007's Exhibit A is the timely story of a normal family disintegrating under financial pressure, eventually driven to the unimaginable. We witness the terrifying events unfold through daughter Judith's video camera, which subsequently becomes Exhibit A. This was written by Dom Rathero and Darren Bender and was directed by Rathero. It stars Bradley Cole as Andy, Brittany Ashworth as Judith, Angela Forrest as Sheila, and Oliver Lee as Joe. As the synopsis states, this is essentially a home video, but presented in pretty much a 3-act story, which I think is just brilliant. Your eyes tell you that this is just a home movie, but your brain recognizes the story beats and all the plot points. I only have 2 complaints though. First, it's pretty slow getting into it. I mean like pretty slow. I almost put this one on the DNF list, but I stuck with it. My second complaint is the ending. I think the pacing was off, and the climax kind of ramped up a bit too quickly, and then it was just kind of over. Other than that, this one is totally worth the watch. Now, it's not available for free streaming anywhere, but if you look hard enough, you can find this one. I know this is only 4 found footage movies, but here's some more that I like. I'll see you over there.